Hello students, today we are going to start with the two another curves. Earlier in the video we have already completed the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve where we have seen the right shifting and left shifting different causes due to what the oxygen hemoglobin curve can shift to right, either to right side or to the left side. Now we are going to discuss the two another curves which are not that important from the board point of view, but sometime in medical examination questions can be asked. So first of all, the fetal hemoglobin dissociation curve. First of all, we need to know what is the fetal hemoglobin. So first of all, we need to know that whenever the baby is under the mother's womb, then in the embryonic state, the baby gets the oxygen from the mother's body via the placenta. So the maternal hemoglobin carry the oxygen and fetal hemoglobin takes the oxygen from the maternal hemoglobin. Now just see, if we compare the hemoglobin molecule of the fetus and the mother, then we will see that the fetal hemoglobin have more affinity towards the oxygen as compared to the maternal hemoglobin. So that's why whenever from the maternal side the hemoglobin is carrying oxygen, then in the region of the placenta the fetal hemoglobin can take the oxygen from the maternal hemoglobin. If you suppose try to think that suppose the maternal hemoglobin is carrying the oxygen towards the site of the placenta. Now whenever the fetal hemoglobin is coming towards the region of the placenta, towards the region of that placenta wherever maternal hemoglobin is carrying this oxygen, if both the fetal and the maternal hemoglobin have the same affinity towards the oxygen, then oxygen cannot be taken by the fetal hemoglobin. So that's why we need to know that if from the maternal side the hemoglobin, from the hemoglobin the fetal hemoglobin have to trap that oxygen, obviously the fetal hemoglobin should have more affinity towards oxygen as compared to the maternal hemoglobin. So that's why you can see that whenever we place the maternal hemoglobin and fetal hemoglobin oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, then we will see that the fetal hemoglobin will have more affinity towards the oxygen, so that's why it will shift to left side, right? So in the examination, not in the board but in the medical examination, in the NEET examination, if question is asked that suppose from the fetal hemoglobin curve side, then there will be only one possible question is there. What is that? That fetal hemoglobin curve will shift either towards the right side or left side. So the answer will be left side. Why? Because the fetal hemoglobin have more affinity towards oxygen as compared to the maternal hemoglobin. As the fetal hemoglobin has less affinity to bind with 2,3-DPZ or BPZ, it has higher affinity towards oxygen. So one thing we can write here that fetal hemoglobin have high affinity towards oxygen as compared to maternal hemoglobin. So remember this is very much important. Why the fetal hemoglobin binds with oxygen more in a strong manner as compared to the maternal hemoglobin? Because from the placenta the fetal hemoglobin have to trap this oxygen molecule from the maternal hemoglobin side. So that's why if you place in a graph, that is oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, then this oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, if it is for the maternal side it is the normal, and if it is for the fetal side then this will shift to left. Only this will be needed to be remembered. So after that we will see, this is the second curve. The first curve already we have discussed, second curve fetal hemoglobin dissociation curve, and the third one we will see, this is myoglobin curve. Actually what is myoglobin? Myoglobin is also a respiratory pigment present specifically in the muscles. Okay, so remember that myoglobin is present in the muscle, in the skeletal muscles. Okay, so whenever we see this myoglobin myoglobin affinity towards oxygen as compared to the hemoglobin. If you see hemoglobin and myoglobin, both of them, they are the pigment. One, this is hemoglobin, this is the respiratory pigment present in the other parts of the body. And this myoglobin, which is also a respiratory pigment, but it is specifically present in one region. Where is that? This is muscle. Okay, so that's why whenever we put the myoglobin, then whenever we see this normal curve, if it is the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, then what is the shape of the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve? It is sigmoid, right? So if you see this sigmoid curve and if you see this myoglobin curve, so this is the myoglobin curve, this will be parabola. Okay, so remember that myoglobin curve is parabolic as compared to the sigmoid or S-shaped curve of the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. So from here also, if in question, medical examination question is asked, then only one question can be asked, may be asked. What is that? This is, what is the nature of the myoglobin curve? This is the parabolic. Now after that we will see another phenomenon also. Here we will discuss. It is not that important, but yes, sometime can be asked. What is that? Carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay, now what is this carbon monoxide poisoning? Carbon monoxide poisoning is nothing but, see, already we have this concept in the schools that whenever an individual, suppose, close the room is blocked and he is burning a candle and sleeping in the night, then what can happen? In the next day, maybe that individual can die. What's the reason? That whenever we burn a candle, okay, suppose whenever we burn a candle, what is the main important component that is needed for the burning? That is oxygen. So what happened in this closed room? Oxygen is limited because this room is closed. Okay, so we have limited supply of oxygen, and whenever oxygen starts to decline in the closed room, then what will happen? Incomplete combustion occur. Okay, so whenever incomplete combustion occurs, whenever this light that candle is burning, incomplete combustion occurs and it leads to the release of carbon monoxide. Normally whenever a candle burns, it takes the oxygen and release carbon dioxide, but whenever insufficient oxygen is there in a closed room, suppose the room is small, there is a closed room, there is no window present, and this is the candle, this is burning, then due to this incomplete combustion, carbon monoxide is released. Okay, and this carbon monoxide that individual will breathe, it will go to the lung. From the lung, it will start to bind with hemoglobin. Okay, so this carbon monoxide that will be taken, it will be inspirated. Okay, it will be inspirated by the individual, right? So whenever that individual will breathe, will take this carbon monoxide, it will go to the lung. From the alveoli region, this gaseous exchange will take place. Hemoglobin will bind to carbon monoxide. So here the problem appears that whenever this carbon monoxide binds with the hemoglobin, it will produce actually a relatively stable compound. Okay, what is that? That is the carboxyhemoglobin. Remember, so this is the carboxyhemoglobin, right? So this carboxyhemoglobin, this is actually comparatively more stable. Okay, it is more stable as compared to the carbaminohemoglobin also. That's why what will happen, once this hemoglobin binds with the carbon monoxide, then it is not going to release. That means hemoglobin once bind with this carbon monoxide, it will try to bind with that. It will not gonna break, it will not gonna dissociate, right? So that's why what will happen, that individual who is inspirated carbon monoxide, hemoglobin bind with the carbon monoxide to produce carboxyhemoglobin, it is comparatively stable, and the tissues will start to get carbon monoxide in spite of what? In spite of oxygen. So what will happen to that person? That there is a oxygen oxygen that individual will not gonna get, that means oxygen lack will there. Okay, the tissues will not get oxygen sufficiently, so that can lead to a condition. What is that? First of all, that individual will have nausea, then vomiting. Okay, and in the extreme case, what will happen after that? What will happen, that individual can die also, it can lead to death also. Okay, so remember that. What is this? This is carbon monoxide poisoning. And one more thing it is also needed here, that we have two things. One is MERS, MERS, another is SARS, and we already have in the situation of coronavirus. So what is SARS and MERS? This is severe respiratory acute syndrome, and MERS is also Middle East, same in that Middle East region, in the China, in India, in Afghanistan. In this region, first of all, there was a virus appeared, and this is nothing but mutant influenza virus. Okay, this is the mutant influenza virus. What is that called? This is called as the coronavirus. Now this coronavirus, earlier in 2002 it was found in, it was first detected in the Republic of China, where the people, they start to suffer from severe respiratory syndrome, where the individuals start to cough, the alveoli will not able to take maximum gases, oxygen that cannot be exchanged with the hemoglobin. The individual will have deterioration of the lung, because in that region of the respiratory system, the coronavirus will be present, the mutant H1N1 virus. This is the same influenza virus which will undergo severe mutation, and it earlier another diseases like SARS and MERS, and this already have caused lots of severe respiratory problems, and it actually undergo mutation, and this mutation is leading to the formation of another virus. This is the same, the genus is same, that is the coronavirus, but after that it start to show the another symptoms also. So ultimately it is affecting the respiratory tract, and whenever it is affecting the respiratory tract, the individual will have problem in breathing, the tissues will not get sufficient oxygen, so that's why the individual will not able to get sufficient oxygen to the tissues, that individual can be faint. And maybe sometimes this can also happen that the nasal passage is affected, the virus starts to present in the nasal passage, that's why the individual will not able to properly smell the things, right? So what is that? This is because of the mutant influenza virus. Earlier it was found in a different mutant form, that was SARS and MERS, and now it is the NCOV, that means new coronavirus 19, that was detected in 2019. So yes, that are all about the additional information that is not given in your NCERT book, but then also sometime it will be needed from the need point of view, from the medical point of view. So yeah, that's all about the video. I hope you understand. Just something will be needed, that the left shifting of the fetal hemoglobin curve, and the shape of the myoglobin curve, that is parabolic, carbon monoxide poisoning, and this SARS and MERS and coronavirus thing. So that's all about the video. I hope you understand. Thank you.